Hi. In this video, we're going to talk about cultivating healthy boundaries and what does that look like? Everyone can benefit from cultivating their energetic boundaries, and especially if you are super sensitive, are an empath, received your formative trauma at a very young age in utero or as an infant or a very young baby. This work of cultivating energetic boundaries can create massive positive change in your life. If you've never had intact energetic boundaries, you wouldn't even know what to look for. You wouldn't even know what that would feel like, right? A lot of folks have never had a solid sense of themselves separate from others or what's happening in the world around them, right? So, one of the things that can happen when we don't have solid, healthy boundaries established is that it's really hard to tell even what is our experience. It can be really hard to distinguish between what is truly my experience and what is the experience of the people around me or the collective or what's happening in the world. So we want to do this work of cultivating intact, healthy, resilient, energetic boundaries so we can distinguish between what is my experience and what is your experience and the what is moving through the collective field right now, what is the collective experience, and creating this distinction between what's mine and what's yours or others. It really supports being able to tune into what is my work to do, what is my energetic or emotional situation to tend, and what is not mine to take care of or metabolize. So this is really important when we're doing inner work to not and as we step into radical self-responsibility to not take on over responsibility, right? To not take on that which is not ours and attempt to metabolize someone else's emotional material or energetic situation, right? This is really important. And also, when we have healthy, intact, energetic boundaries, it's much easier for us to determine where to focus our time, energy, and attention because when we have healthy boundaries, we can more accurately determine our inner yes and our inner no. And that is a major guidepost for us for determining where to place our time, energy, and attention, right? So we really want to cultivate strong, healthy, resilient, intact, energetic boundaries. So we metabolize what's ours to metabolize, don't metabolize what isn't ours to metabolize, and be efficient about where we choose to focus for the most beneficial impact. Okay, so let's jump into this. If you know me at all, you know I like the direct method, right? So, the first place to start cultivating energetic boundaries is in the energetic field itself. So, each of us has an energetic membrane, or we could have an energetic membrane that extends, it's about an arm's length in every direction from the body. So, you can like literally put your arms out and kind of feel into where that edge should be or could be if it was intact and resilient, or maybe it is sometimes for you and sometimes not. And maybe you're someone who already has established boundaries, but they're not cultivated, right? So um, like I said earlier, if our formative trauma happens really young, we're less likely to have any boundaries at all. But if the formative trauma happens a little later, then you will have some intact energetic boundaries. But we want to learn how to cultivate them so we can be really mindful and choiceful about what we let in and what we don't. Okay, so we want to bring our attention to this membrane that's about an arm's length in every direction. It's like a little bit of an egg shape in every direction around our whole body. And so I like to do this like in the morning before getting up and at night before going to sleep, just like checking in, right? So you're already calm, relaxed. You can have your eyes closed and then look slash feel into that membrane and just feel into the quality of it. And we want it to feel like stretchy and strong and resilient, almost like there's like Kevlar woven in, right? So what can happen is that it can get blown out or rubbed thin, right? If you're in a dynamic with someone who's like continually pushing or crossing boundaries, or that you're just used to sort of acquiescing to them, like that, there's it could be a place in your field that's literally worn thin because of that dynamic. So we can look for places like that and reinforce them. Sometimes there will be like a big blowout, like um, like a water balloon got blown out, and there's just like shreddy edges, and like energy can just like pour out and pour in. Sometimes the whole membrane is disintegrated or like barely there, right? So we can work with it in a number of ways, but first we want to just kind of get a sense of where it's at. And then from there, we can invite strengthening to it. And that can happen in a number of ways. A great way to cultivate strength and resilience in the membrane is to invite your energetic self, your higher self, to pour liquid gold over the surface of it. And the liquid gold will highlight the places that are intact and aren't intact, right? And liquid gold both helps us see it and is nourishing to the membrane, nourishing to the tissues of the energetic field. So yeah, inviting that liquid gold in and allowing it to cover and coat and seep in to nourish the fabric, the tissue of the energetic field. It will also highlight places that are blown out or rubbed thin. And in those places, you can apply like a mesh patch, like a golden mesh patch, and or a golden needle and thread to like stitch up a hole. So if there's a place that's worn thin or blown out, you want to apply a patch. And if there's just a little hole or a tear, you can sometimes stitch that up with a golden needle and thread. Once you've set up your nourished, resilient membrane, and you've started feeding it every day with this attention and the liquid gold, then you'll get more and more tuned into, oh, is there a blowout or a tear? And you might even, as you approach the place, the leaky place in the field, you might even be able to connect it to something that happened in the outer world, like an interaction you had with someone, or a story that you took on about yourself or something like that. So get into the habit of checking and nourishing the energetic field with the liquid gold, and that will increase your ability to tune in and see over time if you have tears or blowouts, and then use the patch or the needle and thread to patch those thin places or tears or blowouts, and continue to be an inquiry about where they came from, so that you can start to see how energetic boundaries in the metaphysical relate to interactions that you might have with folks in the real world. I find it hardest to see the back and the underneath part of the membrane. So really tune in to the back and the underneath part extra as you're learning your system and how to tend to this energetic boundary. And once you have established this nice, resilient container for yourself, then you can practice noticing if you're all the way in it and if anybody else's energy is in your system also, right? So ideally, we have this solid, resilient, stretchy, strong, energetic membrane, and all of our energy is in it, and everyone else's energy is outside of it. So practice, practice, practice. This is daily practice. If you want the support of energy medicine, there are some flower essences that are excellent in supporting cultivating healthy energetic boundaries. And they are primarily the yarrows. So yarrow is a medicinal herb. It grows throughout North America and Europe and probably other places. It probably grows all over the world. I don't actually know. It's astringent, it's aromatic, it's pretty, it's growing in my garden. So the yarrows are profound energy medicine for cultivating healthy energetic boundaries. They literally help reknit those holes in the field that I was talking about, going direct with the needle and thread or the mesh, which are excellent strategies. And as you're taking yarrow flower essences, they can help illuminate for you the places where you blow yourself out, right? Where you maybe give your power away or acquiesce when you don't really want to, and highlight those places where you can start practicing providing yourself with what you really want and need. So, yarrow. White yarrow is the primary yarrow flower essence for cultivating healthy boundaries. And it's like a general remedy, general healthy boundaries that helps reknit holes in the auric field. And then there are a few others. So, there's a pink yarrow, and that is specific for emotional boundaries. So if you tend to like take on other people's emotions or feel other people's emotions as your own or get kind of taken over by the emotional tone of a group or whatever, pink yarrow is excellent for that. Golden yarrow is for social boundaries. And it's really helpful for people who are in front of an audience or public speaking, and for people who kind of tend to be challenged to have their own experience when they're close to someone else, right? So, for that tendency to sort of get taken over by someone else's experience, or not be able to distinguish between what's my experience and what's your experience, golden yarrow can be really good for that. I made a fourth yarrow this summer because it's growing in my garden. It's like a paprika, like a peachy paprika color. And when I dropped in with that flower to inquire about its medicine, I got that it was about mental boundaries, right? So now we have like kind of the general boundary remedy, we have the emotional boundary remedy, the social boundary remedy, and now we have the mental boundary remedy, which is this kind of peachy paprika color of yarrow. And so that could be really good for if you have open head centers in human design, or for whatever other reason you tend to like take on other people's thoughts as your own, or not, be able to really distinguish like, wait, was that my thought? Like, where did that thought come from? Um, that sort of thing could be very well supported by this paprika yarrow. I love flower essences. Yarrow is number one. If you are at all sensitive, if you work with people, if you're a body worker, a therapist, definitely be taking yarrow. Definitely be taking yarrow, because people who work with people can pick up stuff all day long. And especially if you're energetically sensitive or emotionally porous, you will be picking people's stuff up. And that can contribute to all kinds of things like fatigue and confusion and ultimately burnout. So definitely you want to support your system. Tend your system with the flower essences and with the direct practice of cultivating the membrane of the egg-shaped envelope. So, as we cultivate these healthy boundaries and we hone in on our true yeses and nos in alignment with our needs and our energetic availability, we become so much more powerful. A no is as good as a yes. No's are clarifying, they give you energy when you can choose, oh, that's not for me, and I don't have time for that right now, and my energy isn't for that, and no, then what you are for and what you're available for becomes so much more clear and supercharged. So I know all of you super sensitive beings out there have so much to give. I want to see you giving it and not being drained by it, right? Being energized by your giving. And that can happen when we have strong, resilient, energetic boundaries. So I hope you have found this information helpful. And if you like working in your own energetic system like that, I encourage you to take my free class, Technologies of Consciousness for Evolving the Earth Collective. There's some great practices in there, and it will support you to cultivate yourself more and more on your journey of delivering your gifts, which is what I'm here to support. So thank you for your time, energy, and attention, and I will see you next time.